Hey guys, Anna here. Today we're in Nordhaven building a 3x2 modern industrial style family home. This is a simplistic one-story home which is perfect for gameplay and very easy to recreate. So if you are an aspiring builder or someone who is learning to build and you really want to learn how to recreate something that's very easy to play in and is quite easy to make, today's video is perfect for you. So if you do enjoy what you see today, please consider liking, subscribing and leaving a comment for me. I love to hear all your thoughts from you. It's one of my favorite things to be able to comment and hear the feedback on my builds. This build had a very simplistic shape. It is essentially a very standard a left and a right side that I often build. So I normally have your living areas on one side. In this case, it is the left side of the building, and then the right side is like a wing that just has bedrooms. And it's very interesting. This particular build is built in Nordhaven, which is the expansion, is the world that came with the expansion pack, Businesses and Hobbies. We got this a couple of years ago, and it is in a world that's inspired by, I think it's Amsterdam or Sweden. I more think it's Amsterdam. I'm actually currently planning a European holiday and I'm looking at the canals and the buildings, and it's very reminiscent of Amsterdam. Anyway, I digress. This particular lot is the lot, the Terra Potter lots. It's the pottery business / home, which is found in the Iverstad neighborhood, which is in the upper left-hand corner of the world. And it's an interesting lot because it's not very big, and I did struggle with shaping. I've built this big, very horizontal house, and I end up having to do like a very small side yard. But I think that that's okay because of the actual theme of the build. I find that sometimes when you have a more modern, minimalistic kind of industrial style home, your backyards don't need to be cluttered. In fact, even in the Sims in gameplay, my Sims barely use a backyard. So I don't know about yours, but it's been a while since I've played The Sims, and I definitely need to. I often just build. I open the game and build, but when I do play The Sims, I don't really utilize backyards. You'll see shortly the one that we have created here. It's more of a side yard, and it utilizes the in-ground hot tubs we got from Adventure Awaits, which I'm super excited about. They are super fun, and they definitely are a great addition with modern builds, and they look a little bit more realistic to have something built in as opposed to just this big freestanding hot tub that, in the past, that's what a lot of my builds would use. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the build. So I have kind of spoken over the entire exterior of the build and kind of the shape and the floor plan. So I can kind of just roughly kind of go through it with you now. So you walk in and you have this giant landing space. This kind of space actually opts as like a sitting area. So we do end up putting in some couches in there, and that is almost like a lobby type sitting area, which I don't normally do in like a residential build. It would be definitely something I include in like a community lot, but I've included it in this build to kind of create a second living area, which I think is really important when you're playing The Sims, is to have a lot of spaces for Sims to gather, because that's what Sims do. They like to gather, they like to, congregate in areas. So you've got a second living area. Then to your left, you have the living area. So you have this big long section that has your kitchen, dining and living. This is pretty standard Anna stuff. We are going through the kitchen as we speak. So I've done this layout several times. If you've watched my videos, you know that I really just enjoy this layout. And when in my own gameplay, I found that this works well. You want the kitchen that's close to the dining, but you've also got some bar stools. So there you've got multiple sitting areas, because sometimes Sims like to do homework where other Sims are eating, or they like to be in the living room. So like having it being one open area means your Sims are likely to stay together more often. Okay, one of the more design factors I was focusing on in this particular build was the industrial decor style. So I wanted to combine industrial with modern. I've done it several times, but I feel like a lot of the packs that we're getting recently, I've used a lot of eco lifestyle, some base game, some of the kits, refined living room, love struct, all of those type of builds, packs have assets that have a lot of different materials and they have a lot of different styles, and I really like the kind of mixture of those styles. This build wasn't meant to be more on a monochromatic scale, but it kind of developed into that. So it has developed into a monochromatic color palette that's complemented with browns and other neutrals to kind of add warmth and a bit of vibrancy into what can be a very, I guess, plain background or canvas in a way. I almost think that it would be really quite interesting to like recreate like Kim Kardashian's house, because that is entirely beige. And I think it would be quite interesting to see how that translates in The Sims. Okay, so I love these very tall curtains, and I think I actually changed the swatch of them. These are from Modern Luxe Kit, and they are beautiful. I just think that there's something so simplistic about them. The elegance that they bring to the space is really good. And I've pulled in a bit of the brick that's come from the exterior, and I've used it as a focal wall. This is my favorite brick in the game. It does actually come from Businesses and Hobbies. The area in Iverstad where we are building this particular home uses a lot of that more industrial style, as opposed to the downtown in, what is it called? It starts with a G, Gamavik, maybe. That is more the traditional kind of townhouse multifunctional lots you would see in kind of Amsterdam vibe-ish by the canals. So this is that upper, more industrial area in Iverstad, and it definitely has that more industrial modern vibe. Okay, so the exterior of this build took me forever to get the colouring, and it was interesting when I was looking at this build from the exterior. It very much reminded me of homes that are actually built in Australia, like modern homes that are built in Australia look like this. This is the standard cookie cutter home and land package home you would buy in Australia would look like this. Well, anyway, where I live on the West Coast, this is how they would look, and it kind of made me laugh a bit when I was ending up building, because it does happen where what I picture versus what I end up with sometimes isn't the same thing. I didn't like imagine this type of home, but this is what happened. So I do like the shape of it, and I think that it's very different to what I have used. I did use a lot of windows that came with Businesses and Hobbies, kept it very modern, kept it very simple. This was actually a very simplistic build to create. It didn't take me too long, and I'm really happy with it. All right, so this is the side yard. So you've got the in-ground hot tub. You've also got these like bench chairs that are quite a bit more industrial looking, and they look like they would be used for a community lot. These come from Get Together, and then I've paired just some basic. I haven't put a table and chairs like I normally would because I didn't have a lot of room, but I put in a hopscotch thing, and I put in some planter pots for some gardening just to add some more skill building. We do have some, children or teen rooms in this building. So in this home, I should say, in this building. So I wanted to include some kids stuff, but I didn't have a lot of room. I did sneak in a kid's bike, and the back patio just kind of has a nice little seating area and kind of like just some like a garden cabinet, just has a lot of pot plants on them. I like that piece. I think that is really reminiscent with this area, and it blends in nicely with the color palette of the exterior of the build. For landscaping, I kept it very simple. I used these block hedges. I don't normally use these, but this particular build really struck me as something that needed something that was a little bit more manicured and not as kind of layered and random and, I guess, Yeah, I didn't, as I would in like my traditional family homes where I just kind of draw out garden beds and I just kind of put a whole range of different flowers and shapes and sizes and bushes and plants. This, I wanted a very symmetrical, simplistic, clean looking landscaping. And I just think the green strikes really well, complements the wood grain. Okay, so just putting the final touches to the exterior, and then we'll be moving inside to decorate more of the bedrooms. So as I said, I've got 3 bedrooms in this particular home and 2 bathrooms. One of the bathrooms you'll see decorated off camera, and then yeah, we'll decorate the other one on camera. Just yeah, so all right, so speaking of bathrooms, this the tiling. I didn't actually talk about tiling. So this actually comes from Business and Hobbies. It's more of a path. I use it in the exterior, but I also brought it inside for the bathroom because I liked that it was the same kind of grayish tone that's used in the wallpaper tiling, but it has a different pattern. And I really like how it complements the area. And we're still kind of focusing on that monochromatic scale, pairing it with neutrals. So, you know, yes, obviously there's black and white, but there's loads of grey in there. And then you've got different colours that complement. Using things like gold and other metals really complement and bring in that industrial feel into the space. This is a very simplistic bathroom. I used a lot of the sleek bathroom kit, and I'm surprised I didn't use the mirror that comes with Business and Hobbies. It is my favorite mirror, but I didn't use it in that space. All right, this is a little bit more of that central area where, as I said, you walk in and you have that second living room. I think that it was a really great use of the space because it allowed me to create an area that filled the space so it didn't look very empty, but it was actually a functional space for the Sims. You then have this smaller hallway that is literally the only purpose of this hallway is for doors into the bedroom, into the 3 bedrooms. And I've put in a chess table here. I always put in a chess table in each one of my builds. I feel that for gameplay purposes, you always need the logic skills, so it's always a good object to include. All right, our first bedroom is a teens room, and this is a girl's room. I start with using the floral wallpaper that comes with Business and Hobbies, and I pair it with a kind of pink solid wallpaper. I think that one came from Lovestruck. And that kind of set the tone of the color scheme of the build. So whenever I do bedrooms, I always pick a color. So each of my bedrooms will have a different color theme. And I find it helps me when decorating to kind of create a space that is cohesive within the room. So sometimes the bedrooms aren't necessarily cohesive with the rest of the house, and sometimes they are. If I was to do something that's more cohesive, it would be the master bedroom is definitely on the more, you know, in line with the rest of the house kind of feel, whilst these kids' bedrooms or teen bedrooms are very more, you know, personality focused. This bed comes from Lovestruck. I've used the lamps that came with the Refined Living Room kit. They kind of look like they're from IKEA. I've never used them before. I like them, but I forget to use them. So I decided to use them in this build. I put in a desk. I didn't put in a computer in this particular room. I put in like a little makeup, I don't know, stand organizing thing. So maybe like that's just where they do their makeup. I've been using a lot of vanities in my builds. So you'll see me use a lot of those in future content. I've been enjoying it for like kind of teen rooms or like even master bedrooms where I've got a lot of space. It's a great way to utilize the space. All right, we are in the second bedroom. This is a child's room and I've gone with more of a green theme. I think this is more gender neutral, but it could be more masculine. I don't know. I can't remember how I decorated it. I watch these back and sometimes I build, you know, weeks or even months prior to actually recording the voiceover. So sometimes it's a, you know, it's a surprise to me what I do. This is giving me wilderness vibes. This is giving me nature, wilderness. I love that little dollhouse that comes from the little campus kit. I've used a mirror that I love. This is actually from Get Together. I've been building a lot more Victorian style builds, so that mirror is probably something that I've just used a lot of. Life and Death dresses. It's just the perfect wood tone that pairs with the Dream Home Decorator bed. Put in an imaginary friend, because again, this is more of a nature-filled room, so maybe that sim really would lean in more to the stuff that's in the Adventure Awaits kind of pack. All right, last bedroom. This is again the bedroom that probably aligns closer with the theme of the rest of the house. This is definitely more of a modern industrial bedroom. I've used the brick that's from the outside, which is also used in the living room, and paired it with a blue stucco. The bed actually comes from the industrial loft kit, same with the dresser. And I've used a lot of metal in this room. We've used those beautiful bedside tables that come from Get Together. This rug comes from Base Game. It's part of that West African update that we got. That beautiful dark blue stone-ish kind of ottoman. So lots of materials in here, and I love that simple chair. Normally I put like a plush kind of sitting chair, but I went with something that was a little bit more structured in this space, and that definitely leans more to the industrial vibe. Alrighty, so just finished putting the final touches on, and we are live in game for the tour. So you walk into this beautiful kind of open living area. It's a sitting area, it's a landing zone, and that leads you into the kitchen, dining, and living space. Love the pairing of black on the white. Those wooden chairs are so nice. They actually come from Snowy Escape. So you walk into the first bathroom. So both the two bathrooms are off this main living area. So that was bathroom number 1, and this is bathroom number 2 that I did off camera. You walk down this small hallway into a teens room. Really love the uses of blue and pink in this room. Into kind of a nature-filled child's room. And then lastly into the master bedroom, which really complements the rest of the build in that particular space. I would say that would be my favorite bedroom in this home. You've got a sitting area out the back door, and you wrap around through to your kind of side yard, which has your hot tub, some gardening, just like an entertainer's space. And yeah, that is the build today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's build. If you did, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.